What is going on, everybody? This is the Standing Room Only podcast, episode number 17. And I think we're almost at the end of 4 months. We started in November.
Yeah, going on the end of 4 months, yeah.
Okay. If you guys didn't know, I was gone last week, and this episode was actually supposed to go out technically in a day. But I came back, I had some schedule free up, so we just decided to do it on a Wednesday night instead of the Thursday night that we were originally supposed to plan. I was gone in Arizona for a few days, and I also went to San Diego and was able to play MLB The Show early. I was able to provide feedback and see what the game is like, so that's why the episode wasn't released on time this week. But a day later...
Basically what Healy just said was, we were originally going to post it on Thursday night into Friday, but he missed me so much that he decided that we're going to do it Wednesday night into Thursday, just to clear up what you just said.
Yeah, I missed you just that much. If you guys don't follow us already, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at SROnlyPod. And make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening to. If you're listening to it on Spotify and Apple, make sure you subscribe to it and download all the episodes and leave a rating. That would help us out a lot. You can follow myself on Twitter and Instagram at thehealy6, Healy.
And then you can follow me on Instagram. I am iGoose. That's with 4 O's. Again, don't ask why. And to follow up with what Healy just said as far as Spotify, Apple, or YouTube, if there's anybody that you know who likes sports, likes podcasts, or just anybody in general, just go ahead and share our content. And we'd appreciate the love. And if you are already listening to us and you like us and whatever it may be, go ahead and hit download, like, subscribe, and show some love.
We're going to start off this week with some baseball. Last week, players reported to spring training. Nothing really there. The big news this week is players were finally in front of media, and the media all wanted to know what they thought about the Astros. So you saw Mike Trout, Chris Bryant, Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, all the big-name players finally speak out on the Astros, calling them cheaters, saying bad things about them. Nothing too surprising. I'm ready for games to start and for there to be some action so that we can get over this Astros stuff. It's a bad thing, but I'm sick of all the stories just being centralized around this Astros story.
Astros, yeah.
Chris Bryant also spoke out about him wanting to be a Chicago Cub for life. So the Ricketts family, if you guys don't sign Chris Bryant to an extension at some point, I'm going to be very mad.
You'll be mad. Will you be surprised?
At this point, no, I would not be surprised. I know the Ricketts haven't been around for too long with a great team, and they haven't had control of all these great players, but this is the key guy that got called up. He won the Rookie of the Year award, won the MVP award during the World Series season. He's been the face of the franchise. He needs to be signed no matter what.
I completely agree. I mean, besides Javi Baez, who else do you really have that can even attract other potential free agents down the road? We'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't sign him to an extension. But I feel like deep down we all know that he should and more than likely will be getting that extension, or at least is well deserved more than anybody else in that on that roster. So
I think that'll happen next year. This year it'll just be a bunch of talks. Maybe he gets moved at some point. We'll have to see on that.
Yep.
But that's pretty much it for baseball. Because all the free agents have signed, everyone's reporting spring training. It's that lull period. We finally get that lull period where there's no talk pretty much at all.
At least for the next couple of weeks, unless something crazy happens, big trade, which you never know. So as Healy reported, pitchers, catchers, position players all reported. Spring training's literally right around the corner. And then before you know it, regular season starts, and then 162-game season to the end of the year, right?
Oh, yeah. So I'm super excited to talk about that on the podcast.
Yeah, I bet you
Moving over to the NFL content. Drew Brees is officially coming back.
He's
which
coming
is
back.
Big news.
Yep.
He's a free agent, though, so we'll have to see if the Saints re-sign him.
Yes, so he did announce, I believe on Twitter, that he's coming back. Good move for him, good move for the organization. He still has it. They still have a great team that could very well make a push for playoffs and beyond. Maybe a Super Bowl run, who knows. So I'm happy to see that. There's the free agents this year. The list is nonstop. It's never ending. So obviously we have Tom Brady. We have to decide where he's going to go. Phillip Rivers is for sure done with the Chargers. A lot of other free agents. One free agent that did get signed or agreed to a term with the Chicago Bears is tight end Demetrius Harris.
Never really heard of him.
Yeah, never really. Let's see. He played with Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken. He played with Cleveland, suffered a concussion and a shoulder injury during his time. He was cut earlier this week by the Browns, and the Bears were basically shopping for a tight end. There's been rumors that they were looking at Greg Olsen before, who obviously signed with the Seahawks. Bears trying to build a little bit more to that offensive core to give Trubisky more weapons. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of good free agents out there. I'm excited to see where a lot of these guys go.
I'm surprised Greg Olsen signed.
Yeah, he's
34 years old. He's been a little bit injured. He's been talking about going into the announcing booth, broadcasting booth, which he's already doing with the XFL. So I'm kind of surprised he signed a one-year deal with the Seahawks, and he's going to continue to play.
Yeah, I think it was a good move. Seahawks utilize their tight ends quite often. He's, as you mentioned, 34, going on 35 for this year, or might already even be 35. He signed a one-year deal, gave him $7 million, not that much money. It was a good chunk for him being a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a good move for both sides. As we mentioned before, other notable free agents, obviously Drew Brees is going back to the Saints. Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, A.J. Green is a free agent for the Cincinnati Bengals. Great receiver when he's on the field. We don't know. He's always injured. Don't know how much money he's going to get. One thing I did notice was all the free agents that the Cowboys have. Jason Witten, which probably is going to retire. We don't know yet. Michael Bennett's a free agent. Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott, Randall Cobb.
Sean
Lee's a free agent. Joe Thomas, the inside linebacker. The list is never ending for this team. And I feel like now that I'm looking at this list, it made sense that they decided to fire Jason Garrett when they did and bring in Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy's won a Super Bowl. Randall Cobb knows Mike McCarthy very well. So I feel like by bringing in this new head coach, maybe they can convince these guys to stick around for a couple more years. Because if they can't re-sign Amari Cooper and or some of these other guys such as Sean Lee, who we know is 34, who knows where his career is going to go, or even Dak Prescott. I mean, I don't believe Dak Prescott is a great quarterback, but he does the right things when there's not that much pressure on him.
Mm-hmm.
So,
he can put up the numbers, which is kind of hard to find with QBs.
Exactly.
Like if you find a QB that can be decent, you kind of just have to stick with them, unless you have a prodigy behind them that you got like the number 2 pick in the draft one year.
Exactly.
But they don't have that.
The Chicago Bears, obviously us being from Chicago, there's always rumors floating around on what they're going to do for quarterback. There's been different rumors I've already been hearing, such as Nick Foles they might trade for, and all this.
Please no Nick
junk.
Foles.
Yeah, it would be a horrible move to grab Nick Foles. For one, he's already 31 years old. He's going to want more money than what he probably deserves to get in the Chicago market, just to help aid Trubisky into development of a better quarterback, if that makes sense. And I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they do in the free agency, because they have some other free agents as well, like Danny Trevathan. So they're going to have a little bit more money. I know that their cap is not the best right now, but we'll see where that goes. But that's over the next few weeks. So we'll start to see free agents sign as as that trickles down.
I don't think free agency officially starts until March 18th.
Yes.
But guys will be in verbal agreements
Exactly.
until then. So
Exactly.
these won't be official reports, but they'll be as official as they can get with the agreements. We've seen guys flip at some point, but
Yeah, there have been a few historically, but generally, if a guy said he's gonna, like if Tom Brady came out and was like, yeah, I'm for sure going back to New England, I would expect him to stick with New England. But yeah, so there's that, and then Jadeveon Clowney too is a free agent, so we'll see what he does. In other NFL news, besides free agency, is the potential change in the playoff format starting this upcoming season.
yeah. Last week we talked about, I think it was last week, we talked about the MLB potential playoffs. NFL heard it, and they was like, oh, we could probably do that. It's going to be 7 teams, and only the top record in each league would get a bye, and then the last, or seeds 2 through 7 would play on wild card weekend. So the NFL would get an extra wild card game on Saturday and Sunday, which would bring in more fans, more revenue. And then the remainder of the games are going to be the same with the amount of teams. It goes down to 4 teams, and then there's a conference championship, and then the Super Bowl. So that change seems very logical. You get an extra team in the playoffs. You get more money in that sense, and you get an extra game of football.
Yeah,
for that one weekend.
Yeah, you're getting an extra game, and you're allowing that 7-seeded team that just so happened to go 13-3, but so did the rest of the conference. You're getting that team in there as well. I like it. I like the change. They did propose the option of a 17-game regular season. They don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, I guess nothing is technically official yet, even with this playoff format. I'm excited for the playoff change. I think watching more football in the wild card weekend would be awesome. 17-game regular season, I don't know. You're adding an extra week, technically with a bye week. It's 18 weeks total. I mean, I'm not mad. I like watching football.
Well, they would add in an extra bye week, too.
Oh, is that the room? Okay.
So it'd be like 19 weeks then.
So that's football year round almost. You might as well make it a baseball season.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that would be the changes with the NFL playoffs. Again, not too many headlines with the NFL outside of a couple signings here, and then the free agencies coming up, and then this proposed playoff change. So for those listening, we're gonna put out a poll, perhaps, if you like the current playoff format, or if you would like to see the new playoff format. So we'd like to hear everybody's feedback on there. And if you just watch us on YouTube, leave a little comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think. I personally like it. Healy, I think you are in agreement. You like it as well.
Yeah. The poll will go out sometime after this episode's released. So it's getting released Wednesday night, Thursday morning-ish, midnight-ish. It'll be out in the afternoon on the Instagram and Twitter. So make sure to follow us at SROnlyPod on those platforms.
Yes. So that's pretty much it for the NFL. We can transition over to the NBA with the wildest All-Star weekend I've seen since I was born like 12 years ago. Just kidding. So your first reaction, NBA All-Star weekend.
Oh, it was great. Top to bottom, it was great. The skills competition, it was hilarious seeing every single guard lose to a big man.
I feel like the past few years, there's always been a big guy to challenge these guards and win.
I feel like the big guy just doesn't have as much pressure, and the little guy's like, I can't lose to these guys.
I'm a guard.
And the big guy's like, oh, ballin', and he makes it.
Yeah, especially nowadays, the big guys can shoot.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. So that was fun to watch. I personally, dunk contest, three-point contest was extremely fun to watch. Buddy Hield won the three-point contest. I wish
last shot,
his last rack, which was, I believe, all money balls. He played it well. Buddy Hield has been one of my favorite players since he came up a few years ago. Part of that Kings organization that is a few years out from being an actual playoff contender. Mm-hmm. That three-point contest was awesome. They introduced the Mountain Dew ball, that was
great.
I liked it. A lot of guys couldn't hit that, surprisingly, because we do see in these games, some of these guys are shooting the deep ball. You're like, might as well move the three-point line back. But then in the three-point contest, these guys are barely hitting it. But I did like the integration of the it was a three-point ball,
Yeah.
right? I like that integration. And then the dunk contest.
That was wild.
Wild.
Aaron Gordon should have won.
That was it was tough to judge. I definitely agree. Aaron Gordon, him dunking over Taco Fall was incredible. I mean, Taco Fall is what, 7'5". To be fair, he didn't clear Taco Fall, and I know it's not easy
To clear a 7'5" dude, yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy. Both players definitely threw down. I would say the smoothest dunker was Derrick Jones Jr. I felt like everything was first attempt. His dunks were out of this world. Now, when it came down to the final dunk, he didn't jump from the free throw line and cock that windmill like he intended, and he realized it. So I do feel like Aaron Gordon did get robbed out of the final round. Aaron Gordon had, I mean, both, I don't want to take anything away from Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon was dominant. They both were dominant. They both were winners in my eyes. Aaron Gordon definitely should have won that last round. It was just hard to judge because he did jump, didn't clear Taco Fall. And then on the other end, Derrick Jones Jr. also didn't complete the dunk the way he wanted, so neither got a 50. I was hoping they scored the same so that they can bust something else out, but it didn't happen that way, unfortunately. But either way, very entertaining. Very entertaining. I was happy. And then the All-Star game.
I unfortunately did not catch the first three quarters because I was traveling. But as soon as I got to my hotel, quarter number 4 started. That was insane. Did you watch the first three?
I watched most of the first, a little bit of the second, made a trip to the grocery store, came back, missed a halftime show, unfortunately, with Chance and Wheezy. Came back, watched the second half. I was glued to the screen the whole time.
Was the effort great in the first three quarters?
Not as much as it was the fourth. The fourth quarter kicked
compared
in.
to other All-Star games.
Oh, yeah, hands down. Hands down.
Okay.
Hands down. Because each quarter, every team had a purpose.
Yeah.
It was for that charity.
Charity, yeah.
So you can tell as the game started getting closer, second quarter, third quarter, and by the fourth, these guys were giving it their all. And I think the format, the format had a lot to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, yeah, it is what Kobe would have wanted. He would have wanted to see these guys, his boys, ball out. But this format, definitely, they had a purpose. They had a reason to play, and they were challenging each other. And it was even like Ben Simmons up against Joel Embiid a couple of times. And you had guys who were on the same team, and they're just going all out against each other. I don't think I've ever watched an All-Star game like this.
Dude, it was like watching an NBA Finals game in that fourth quarter. Team LeBron was down 9 points in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter. They had to make up the score and get to 157, which they did.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I wasn't a fan of, and I wholeheartedly agree with Joel Embiid, and I thought Anthony Davis was going to purposely butcher both free throws. Because to end a game on a free throw, like if you're playing out, like, there's like an unwritten rule.
Yeah.
You don't take a charge when you're playing outside of a league, right? You don't take a charge. And you never win on a free throw. We don't even shoot free throws. And Anthony Davis won it on the free throw. It was cool. He won it, whatever. That's the rules of the game. But I think it would have been better to have a rule in place where you can't win on a free throw.
Yeah.
But besides that, everything was perfect. Everything.
I don't think that they thought that the game would have ended on a free throw. I don't think they thought these guys were going to go as hard as they did in the fourth quarter. The East, though, or Giannis's team, I really wish they would have swapped some guys out there at the end, because I hated seeing Lowry, Siakam, Embiid, and who else was out there?
There was Giannis was out there. Giannis had
their
to stay.
two guard? Oh, Kemba Walker.
Yeah, Kemba. Well, Kemba had a good game.
He did, but like I would have liked to see them at some point when it was getting close, throw in Trae Young.
Trae Young was the starter. I'm surprised he didn't. I like Kyle Lowry, but, like, not really. Like, he's good, but, like, your moment, your knight in shining moment in the whole game was to take 2 charges.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're entertaining, not. You know, and he's not. I mean, he's a good player. I'm not going to take anything away. He's a great player. But Trae Young, I feel like, should have been in that game.
That offense that they had out there, they didn't have outside shooting, and they couldn't score inside because you have LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis.
That whole team. That was almost the LA Lakers team, FYI. That would have been scary. But yeah, that whole team, and I mean, they gave up. They got tired.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, something about watching that game. I mean, it was fun. It was fun, very competitive. I mean, like you said, the refs didn't expect it. There were some calls where they were like looking at each other, not knowing what to do, and the players were getting mad. The players actually were showing they were passionate about this All-Star game, this game that nobody ever cared about. Now all of a sudden everybody cares. Best part was it was in Chicago. So the stars are always out, and I don't know, it was perfect. It was perfect. I'm glad I tuned in. I tuned in because of the format. Ended up sticking with it because of the hard play. The hard play. I mean, there were some hard fouls out there, which you never see. Overall, I was happy.
Kyle Lowry took 2 charges.
Yeah, 2 charges for Kyle Lowry, which was, I don't know. I guess I'm not mad at him. It's part of the game.
Side note as well, Nick Nurse, the Toronto's Raptors coach, was the coach of Team Giannis. So it kind of makes sense that his guys were out there, but I would have liked to see him put some other guys out there. And yeah, the format was great. I think next year they should definitely implement a new rule. The thing is, if you have it to where you foul and you just check it up every time, they're going to toss it down low, let's say to Anthony Davis, and they're just going to foul every time.
I think what they should do, and you heard it here first, if you foul and you're in a penalty, that team takes the ball at half court. That team's going to start at half court. But if you're past like 5 fouls, say you're in an actual penalty, deduct a point.
Yeah, you could do that. Deduct a point.
1 point. Deduct it. You're in the penalty. They get the ball and you lose a point.
That makes sense. That would actually that would be better.
I think that's fair.
Because you won't want to foul at that point.
Yeah, I'm not paying. I refuse to pay $1,500 to go to an All-Star game that ends on a free throw. Like, white man can't jump. You end the game on a dunk. You lay it up, we're going to dog you, bro. You don't lay the game. You dunk that shit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think that was the only bad thing. It was the free throw, and even then, I wasn't even mad.
One highlight I want to go over, Giannis blocking LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
The goaltend that got reversed.
And the goaltend was nuts. So LeBron tried to body Giannis on that play. He gave him a hard shoulder, hard elbow. Giannis, he got bumped back. And I don't think LeBron realized
how long
he is. Because LeBron's a big dude himself, but Giannis fought back for it, got the block. And I'm not saying that was passing of the torch, but I got the chills watching that.
It was
I got
millimeters away from touching the backboard. For
that block too. Yeah, that was so they called it goaltending, right?
Yeah, for context, LeBron had a fast break. He went up for a layup. Giannis was chasing him down. It was like the 2016-2017 NBA Finals where LeBron had that
huge block on Iguodala.
Yeah, it was similar to that, but Giannis barely gets a finger on it, blocks it. The refs call it a goaltend, and then they go into the replay to review it, and the ball barely gets hit right before it hits the backboard, so it's officially a block.
Yeah, it was one of the crazy. I've never seen the refs review a play in an all-star game that almost in a regular game they never review something that long, but then they're like, hold on, these all-stars, we can't get this call wrong. So I remember sitting there for like 5 minutes watching every angle that TNT had to offer, and at the end of it, you said they ruled it a block?
Yeah, it was ruled a block.
It was ruled a block. Okay, and then now what was the call? It was a jump ball though, because the play was ruled dead.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and Anthony Davis took the jump ball. I don't know why.
Which, yeah.
It should have been LeBron.
It should have been LeBron, which he would have lost. But
that was a big bucket. It would have made it 156.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was thrilling. I just remember the whole time I'm sitting here super excited. Even my girlfriend was sitting there watching it. She doesn't even watch sports all out like that, but she was like, this is actually a fun game to watch. These guys are all going at it, and, they're showing all the celebrities. It was just crazy, intense. Like you said, it felt like it was a Game 7 of the finals.
But with juggernaut teams.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope they do it again. I hope they stick with charities. If it's that inner city, like these were Chicago charities. If they go, I don't know where they announce for next year, wherever they're going, keep it an inner city charity. Have these guys playing for a reason. Maybe not do. I don't mind the first 3 quarters and then the fourth quarter is separate. I like that. Yeah. Keep it as Kobe, in honor of Kobe. But definitely cannot win on a free throw. If it is fourth quarter and you're past 5 fouls, take it at half court, deduct a point. NBA, if you're listening, I'll be collecting my royalties. I'll send you my address. Thank you.
Also in NBA news, there wasn't really too much. I think they start up again tomorrow. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers coach left.
Yeah, I think there was like a mutual agreement to just be gone, which is fine. Now that they have Andre Drummond, bring in a good coach. You have Colin Sexton, who's kind of developing as a okay guard. He's hasn't done what they thought he was going to do right away, but he's still developing. They have a nice little core over there. I think if they bring in the right coach, and you still have Drummond for a couple of years, you still have Kevin Love. See what you can do with this young core, minus obviously the little bit of the older guys. But and besides that, I don't think there's really much. Oh, Chicago Bulls, our organization is leaning towards firing Garpax.
I hope so.
Hopefully
be cool.
Those rumors are true. I think who's it, Jerry Reinsdorf.
Yeah.
And they got a realization that our fan base made it known to the world. We hate our front office. To keep it as simple as possible, they suck. They get paid so much money to do nothing.
They haven't done anything since Jordan played as a Bull.
Right.
The closest they've come was Derrick Rose, and they haven't had a big free agent acquisition in years.
I don't count Carlos Boozer. No. I don't count Dwayne Wade.
No. It has to be legitimate all-NBA players.
They always go... I'm thinking, I don't even know who their biggest sign... Dennis Rodman? Did they sign Dennis Rodman, or was he traded? They signed him?
Well, he was acquired.
He was acquired. That was our biggest move. We signed guys who were done. We signed Ben Wallace, who was past his prime. We signed Rip Hamilton past his prime. Dwayne Wade. Carlos Boozer was okay. He was never really that great.
The only players that have been good have been drafted players, and then they leave.
Elton Brand we had, gone. Tyson Chandler was there for a few years, gone. Jamal Crawford, gone. We've had guys.
Derrick Rose, Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy. Derrick Rose was a little bit different because he got hurt, but that also goes along. Derrick Rose, yes, he got hurt. He got hurt in a time he should not have been in the game. That's a whole different story. But yeah, let's clean house. We got a nice young core. We have the potential to have a playoff team in this horrible Eastern Conference. I'm not going to say that they're a playoff team this year as much as I've been saying they should be, but I think once we start to clean house internally in management and start to get guys in there who know what they're doing, who care about the fans and winning. Winning is the biggest thing. We haven't had that since Jordan. And bring in a coach who knows what he's doing. Boylan's okay. I know he was under the Spurs organization, but the guy's a Jag. He's not that good of a coach.
And the players don't respect him anymore.
They don't.
So,
there was a game that we went to. We've only gone to one game this year so far. I do want to go to one more. But there's a game where Daniel Gafford was balling out off the bench, and I don't even think he played in the fourth quarter. The dude had 2 blocks and like 10 points. He was like 5 of 5 shooting in like 12 minutes. Like that's productive. That's very productive. Leave him in the game. We're not going to the playoffs. Let's see these guys develop, this young core. But no, that didn't happen. Our fourth quarters are horrible. We should have at least 6-7 more wins than what we do. But then again, if we do end up tanking and get a better draft pick, I also won't be mad either.
No, that would be good. But
so.
Yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this week's episode of the Standing Room Only podcast. A very quiet week.
Yeah, and maybe it'll be quiet for the next couple of weeks, at least until baseball season comes back around. We'll come up with an over-under on how many hit by pitches the Astros offense is gonna have. I want to compare it to like historically what the top team is, and I'm gonna double that. So, but yeah, we'll continue. I know this past week we weren't very interactive on social media. We're gonna be more interactive, I promise. We're gonna put out a poll what you guys think about the NFL playoff structure that could very well change. It seems like it might, and then we'll target next week again, regular schedule Tuesday into Wednesday.
We'll do mid-season awards for NBA. I think we're going to do it this week, but we'll push it to next week because there hasn't been really much talk.
Yeah, we'll watch a few more games and see what happens. Dame Lillard's climbing the ranks. We'll talk about that next week. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, for listening. If it's your first time, thank you for joining us. If you continuously listen to us, regardless of who you are, like, share, download, subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Go ahead, hit that like button. We are the Standing Room Only podcast. Again, you can follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, SR Only Pod. Myself, I'm iGoose with 4 O's on Instagram.
And you can follow myself, Healy, at the Healy6 on Instagram and Twitter. And this is episode number 17. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.